CNN, how men and women use condoms differently. Journal of Sex Research, are we blinded by desire, relationship motivation, and sexual risk-taking intentions during condom negotiation? The safe sex conversation should be a simple one. Who doesn't want to protect themselves against sexually transmitted infections? Yet for many people, it can be an uncomfortable negotiation. Perhaps that's because men and women seem to approach that discussion about condom use from different angles. That's the conclusion of a recent study that examined condom negotiation in men and women ages 18 to 25. The researchers found that heterosexual men, heterosexual women, and men who have sex with men all use different strategies when negotiating condom use with a new partner. Straight men tend to be more willing to have sex without a condom, while women may withhold sex if their partner refuses to use one, and men who have sex with men aim for a balance between these approaches. Why didn't they just say homosexual men?
Yeah.
That's really weird. Okay. The study found that heterosexual women might be more willing to take risks when they have stronger relationship motivation and view their partner as having more relationship potential. We've spoke about this in the past. A fair number of younger men report experiencing erectile dysfunction when they use condoms, which they say affects sensation. But is this phenomenon actually caused by condoms? Condom use often produces its own kind of performance anxiety in men who begin to worry about losing feeling and maintaining their erection, clinical sexologist Lawrence Siegel explained. But it's not the condom. It's the discomfort with their use and the distraction that the discomfort produces. What do we think?
Yeah, I've seen some firsthand experience with this.
Of which part?
As soon as the condom goes on and, it all goes limp.
It does happen. Yeah, see, in the chat room, someone just said condoms give me super ED, erectile dysfunction. Yeah, but you're using good condoms. You got to be using skin, my friend.
Use good skin. Condoms and masturbate with condoms.
Yes.
Get used to it.
Yes, and lower the grip.
Yeah,
masturbation too. You don't want to masturbate yourself.
Use lube.
Use lube when masturbating. Exactly. Put lube in the condom, and it's gonna feel great.
Just
put lube in the condom and then put it on the penis. It feels amazing.
Make sure you're using the right lube.
Yes.
Water-based.
Good lube, Amazon. Go find it.
Oh, we need our Amazon affiliate link.
We need an Amazon affiliate link for our lube. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, use condoms, guys.
Inverse study. The top 4 drugs that enhance sex indicate why people use them. Methods. I'm just going to read from the methods of the study because it's right here. Up somewhere. An international online self-selecting cross-sectional drug survey. The Global Drug Survey 2013 was conducted. Respondents were asked about which drugs, including alcohol, they had sex with while on, how frequently they used the drugs to enhance sex, and how different drugs change different aspects of the sexual experience. We report descriptive statistics and test differences between men and women and between different sexual orientations. Results: SLS occurred across sexual orientations in both men and women. All groups reported that alcohol, cannabis, and MDMA were the most commonly used drugs with sex. Larger proportions of homosexual and bisexual men had sex while on most drugs than heterosexual men, and larger proportions of bisexual women had sex while on drugs more than heterosexual women. More than 20% of each group reported having used drugs with the intention of enhancing a sexual experience. Larger proportions of homosexual and bisexual men reported the behavior than heterosexual men. There were clear dissociations between the effects of different drugs on different aspects of sexual experience, although hydroxybutyric acid and something else I don't know how to say, and MDMA were rated consistently high.
I thought that was kind of funny.
What do we think about that?
It was funny. People like MDMA, aka ecstasy.
Interesting that the bisexual and homosexual people were more likely to try than heteros. The heterosexual people are just boring.
Yeah.
That's what it's coming down to. You guys are all boring.
That's also what I took
away. Anyone who claims, apparently, you're all boring. Because you know what? If you have never mixed marijuana and sex, highly recommend it. Call me up, 509-878-3229. Let me know how it is. HealthyTalkShow.com. Where we at? There we are. Inverse. Oh, stupid ad. Get out of here. Inverse study. MDMA reveals how it returns brain to a teenager critical period. Science Daily. Psychedelic drug MDMA may reawaken critical period in brain to help treat PTSD. MDMA seems to open up a critical period of social reward learning, a period of development when one learns that it feels good to be a member of a group. In adulthood, that critical period closes, which may be the reason PTSD treatment, which requires close social interaction with a therapist, is difficult and why it seems to work better when MDMA is involved. Dolan and her team studied groups of mice in enclosures with different bedding. They put several mice together in one enclosure with one type of bedding for 24 hours, and in the next 24 hours, and in the next 24 hours, put the same mice by themselves in another enclosure with different type of bedding. The mice began to associate certain types of bedding with isolation or companionship. Then they let the mice wander between enclosures with the two types of bedding and tracked how long the mice spent in each enclosure. The more time the mice spent in the bedding linked to their companions indicated more social reward learning. It's why people gather around the water cooler, they said in the experiments. Dolan and her colleagues found that the critical period for social reward learning in mice is around puberty and wanes once they become mature adults. To determine if they could reopen the critical period, the scientists gave MDMA to mature mice, waited 48 hours for the drug to be washed out of their system, and observed how the mice explored their enclosures and behaved with other mice in the enclosure. Following the treatment with MDMA, most of the animals responded to social interactions the same way as juveniles, by forming a positive association between social interactions and the bedding. This effect lasted for at least 2 weeks after the MDMA treatment and was not observed in mice given saline injections.
That was really interesting.
It really that one made me think.
Yeah.
The part where after puberty we don't no longer want social interactions, or at least that's what the study's saying about mice. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
And then, we hit puberty, we get on our phones, we get on Instagram, and we never have social interaction again. We never want it back. We never think about it.
Yeah. And then it's also the MDMA, the oxytocin triggers signaling that encodes learning and memory, which again is what they saw in the younger mice or younger people, and not seen in the mature mice. And they were also saying that the part of the social bonding that you mentioned, that also helped create a better psychotherapist-patient bond, which was also critical for treatment, especially for PTSD. So pretty interesting.
Very good.
I really like that they're exploring alternatives.
Yes. And how do we get involved in this research?
Sign me up.
PhD.
AskAHealthyDoctor.com.
PhD. Don't look at Robert. I can be a test subject. That's about all I'm qualified for.